Morning everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move. Today's date is the 17th of August 2023. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, so an interesting week again. Another week, another challenge. A couple of days off this week, a little bit of a scarcity as we head towards the highs in the market. So we're going to have a look at all this as we go through today. The first thing we want to get into is the top 10 intensity ratings. There's a couple of big sectors. I mean, the market's been struggling. Some of those big stocks are coming off. But there's some sectors, industrial materials, communications, even the energy guys are starting to move a little bit. So it's looking a little bit interesting out there. And here you can see in the top 10, we've got a few industrial material stocks, Boral, CSR, JSX, even Aurora, Reese is in there, communications or internet stocks, Ria, Car, a couple of consumer discretionary stocks, Aristocrat and Breville. So a nice mixture of stocks there, and sort of bucking the trend of the rest of the market. So we just focus on these stocks that are going up at the moment, and that's our primary interest. Okay, so let's now get into the overseas markets. Dow Jones it's hit resistance, or it's come to resistance level, and it's now shying away from that. So not to be expected, I guess. The market has been quite strong up through here with some reasonably good volume. But now we're going to get a bit of a challenge as we head towards these highs. We can see this week it's coming off. We're really looking for this area down here around about 34,000, somewhere around that vicinity where we've got the moving average, bit of support across here and an uptrend line roughly running through there. So that's probably an area to focus on for the Dow. If we're going to see another retracement back down to S1 first off, maybe even S2. Anyway, we'll wait and see step by step. We just follow the process. Okay, this S&P 500 again, we've had a meteoric rise through here. It is coming back. I mean, we saw this sort of situation before a few months ago, and it happens. So, we've just got to take it as it comes and watch the market tell us what to do. But for the moment, we've neared resistance and we're coming off. So a little bit of a battle going on now between buyers and sellers to see if we can retain this uptrend at the moment. And the Nasdaq a bit similar, a bit volatile, more volatile on the upside, might be a bit more volatile on the downside. But you can see here we're coming back towards that trend line moving average area where we look for a bit of support there. This market's going to continue. We can see some selling has appeared here. So that's just the fact of life, and that's the way the market's going at the moment. So a bit of pressure on those overseas indices at the moment as they approach their highs. Still within the medium-term uptrends, however. Copper, some of our mining stocks are suffering a bit from iron ore. We see, the oil price has been okay, but copper's also starting to weaken off again. So those big mines are getting a bit of pressure from these markets. So copper really is looking for further downside here. It's struggled, it's tried a few times to get back up above this downtrend line, but it hasn't been able to do it. So we're really seeing some big selling hit the market again. So there'll be lower prices on copper, I would think, from there. And gold, we're no nearer an answer here. They're still looking for us to move through this 2,000 level. It hasn't done it. It's come back to test the lower end of the range again now. So again, we're none the wiser there. Brent crude levitating pretty well. It has been the last couple of weeks. We have a good look at this. We can see now, so some good volume pushed this rally recently. And now we're come up to this resistance level here. We support there, a bit of resistance through here. And we've got through the trend line, we've got through the moving average. We now need to deal with this sort of resistance level there, and that will certainly make it look like a rally can be more substantiated if it does get through there. So that's really what we're looking at there on Brent crude at the moment. So there's commodities and overseas indices. Not quite as happy a picture as we had for the last few weeks. Go to the S&P again. Well, realistically, since about November last year, this really has been going sideways. So, we're sitting just below these highs here. A lot of the leading stocks are struggling at the moment, which is causing this to struggle. So for the moment, we just pick our stocks and be happy with that. The momentum indicator on the ASX 200 is also roughly around neutral. It's just positive, but generally, as we're going sideways here, this is also going sideways. So we need to wait for a bit more guidance on that there. Okay, so that is the indices. We now go have a look at the stock pick count. Again, up 1 this week to 48, so we've got one more stock in this week. Not a lot. Still, there are 38 stock picks, which is enough for us to pick from. 161 stocks, and there are 10 ETFs, mainly indices, the ETFs that are running well there. The portfolios, all pretty steady, a bit weakish. We see the conservative has got 7 out of 20. It's 35% equities, and all the other energizers, the 5 stock energizers down to 3, the energizer 10 stocks down to 6, The other one, two more recent ones, are also down to 3. So that's an unusual thing that we're not full there. We're just not really getting the entries that are qualifying at the moment. So that's making it a bit hard to add stock picks. So them not being full is a little bit of a worry. At the market highs, a little bit of a worry. So we just have to be really cautious at the moment and make sure that we're smart about it, hitting our stops and taking our entry signals as well, because there are stocks, as we said before, doing very well, especially in that industrial materials sector. Okay, so now let's get into some stocks. Okay, we'll go through a couple of trend reversals to start off with. As I said before, the sectors that we're looking at has been industrial materials, communication stocks, sort of telecoms, internet stocks, and they've been doing quite well. Rare car, done quite well. We've got a couple of prospects there in that sector. We'll have a look at DHG, Domain later on. In the industrial materials, BLD, Boral CSR, James Hardie, and RWC, and even a related stock, REH, has been doing pretty well there. So there's a good group of stocks there doing well. 7 Group is one of the ones that's still making new highs. We did see an interesting trend reversal sort of situation back here, which is, you see, you get a trend reversal sometimes which doesn't get qualified by a qualifying trend intensity rating. So we don't take the signal until that filter is completed. So here with 7, we've got a good pattern for a reversal, a high, a low, and a trigger. It didn't get a qualifying trend intensity rating. There wasn't enough volume, there wasn't enough trend intensity to give it a kick. It did qualify back up here, so we entered the stock up around about here. So that was our trend reversal, trend intensity confirmation level. We then said it rallied strongly. It's come back. It's now making new highs, which is a really positive development. So its trend intensity rating is 9, and 7 Group has been a nice trend reversal to follow and is doing very well, making new highs at the moment. So that's been a good one. Plenty of buyer strength down here. Momentum very positive. It's a trend intensity rating +9. Okay, Seek. Well, we've got Rare and Car, which have been doing very well lately, and Seek really looked like it was going to happen these few weeks. But we've seen a big bang back yesterday. It's probably down a little bit again today, I would think. We saw quite a lot of selling there that's come through. So Seek just hasn't been able to quite carry off a reversal up till now. So if we just go back and have a little more of a look at this, we can see Seek, the longer term uptrend from a long way back. Like all those stocks, they came down suddenly in 2022, and they've all had a trend reversal pattern. Rare and Car have broken out of these, but Seek is yet to do that. But so it's a prospect. It's certainly worth watching. It's building. It's just above a long-term uptrend there. It's had a good correction, so it's certainly on the radar at the moment, Seek. So keep an eye on that one there. Another one in the industrial materials sector, or related sector, has been Reece, which has just been a quiet one that's just moseyed along and done quite well. Again, we had a trend reversal pattern down here. Well, downtrend first, of course. Trend reversal pattern, which is always reversing a downtrend. Then we get a break up here. We get a bit of volume, so let me just blow this up a little bit there so you can see there. So we get a good volume starting to come through here, a bit of momentum above the average, and then we get a nice move up here as more volume comes in, momentum gathers, and it's now pushing up high quite well. So we initially started with a trend intensity rating of 7, it's moved to a trend intensity rating of 10, and still looking okay again in that sector, which it just seems to be attracting the attention at the moment. So we've got the downtrend phase, the accumulation phase, and now the uptrend phase is developing quite well after this trend reversal. Okay, so that's what we look for, that's how we do it. So that's really the trend reversals I wanted to have a look at. There are plenty more prospects in Stockradar for that sector. Some of the ones that have gone off would be things like Breville, AGL, BLD, all been good trend reversals that we followed. Okay, now new highs. Well, let's have a look at new highs. PME. Again, it actually created a trend reversal earlier on, and I've got a little bit of history here for you here on PME, just so you can see what has happened. In the newsletter the next time I'm going to talk about some corrections on these stocks like Prometheus and WiseTech. Every now and then they have these big corrections, quite severe corrections too they have, and it's a matter of do you hold for the long term because you think it's going to go higher, or do you trade it? It's a really matter of objective as how you do that. So we're traders, so this is what we've done here at the moment. But the more recent pattern here with Prometheus, the trend intensity rating is currently 8. It created a trend reversal back here in October. A nice little trend reversal, then rallied through here and is now starting to make new highs, which is a really good sign. We've got some reasonable volume coming in through here, momentum is good, and this little uptrend phase looks very nice as it moves to new highs. So Prometheus, trend intensity rating +8, is looking very good in that health sector at the moment. The other one I want to have a look at, well, one of the prospects I'm looking at the moment is Cochlear. It did pretty well this week, but we can see we've been watching this high for a long time. It's 3 or 4 years old. We've got a sort of a higher launching pad here. Maybe got a little higher launching pad here. We're getting some sort of demand through here. Well, really, maybe we are, but it doesn't really matter until this falls, and we're close. It's around about 250. Trend intensity rating is 0, ready to go if it does make a new high. We're seeing a little bit of volume accumulating through here. Momentum, which has a good rally through to the highs, has come back, still holding above 0, which is a good sign. So really, we're just looking at this area here for Cochlear to give us a signal that this one's going to move off again after a long correction. Like I talked about recent videos, there's been some long corrections and some big stocks, and when they do start to break out, it's going to be a very positive sign. So Cochlear is one of them that we've been waiting for, and that looks like it's ready to go. One that we've been watching recently has been Worley, of course, which again, it seems to be going on quite well. We know the big resistance level we've seen broken. It's moved to these new highs, and if we just blow this up a little bit, you can just have a look. See how it's now moved through here quite well. Moving higher here. I can just get rid of this volume here so you can see what we've got here. A bit of volume through here, some nice volume at the start of it. Kick through here, and now we're getting, it's a bit of a battle here, but it is moving higher. So for Worley, I think the signs are still pretty good there for further rises. It's made a new high. It's looking okay. So that's Worley. Really not much else to add there apart from just raise your stop on that one there. Okay, and then a couple of other stocks of interest. JB Hi-Fi is always one of interest, I know, to everybody. So I thought we'd have a look at it today because it's been one stock that I haven't been involved in for a while for obvious reasons. As I'm a trend trader, JB Hi-Fi has been going sideways for about 3 years, which doesn't help me at all. So it hasn't really been on my radar. It's rotated around this sort of $45 level, up to 55, down to around 36, 37. But really it has been in that range for quite a few years, and now we're still getting this sort of converging pattern here, which is trying to break out of this week. We've got some interesting volume pushing this rise here. Momentum's neutral, just turning positive. So it's all these ifs and buts, but they can swing very quickly the other way. When we're going sideways, it can look very good, and then it can turn very quickly. If things change suddenly, it drops below the average, things like that. So really their trend intensity rating is 0. This is going sideways. So for me, JB Hi-Fi on a trend basis really isn't something I'd look at the moment. Okay, now downtrodden stocks people hate. Lend-Lease may be one of those ones, I don't know. But it could come down a long way from $20 down to about $7 down here. So it's had a long fall since 2020. Really has suffered a lot of bad news and just keeps going down and down and down. We did have a little attempt at a rally here back in the middle of 2022 where we saw the market rally quite strong on some reasonable volume. Even the momentum index got into the positive territory for a second there, but it failed pretty quickly. Again, why we have a stop. May look good all of a sudden, but then it can look bad all of a sudden. So we have a stop to tell us that it did fail badly, and we saw this continue the downtrend again up until now. So now we've got a little bit more of a closer look at this. We can see this downward move down here. We've now got these 3 lows down here at around $7. We've got our resistance level up here at around about $8.89. And at the moment, it is just trying and struggling for the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's tried up in this range and it's just failed. So, it's trying. This may be a stock that's about to have a rally. There's some volume here in this last rally. So there's certainly interest down here, and there is support. So it's a matter of whether we think this is going to have a correction to this big 65% downward move that we've had since the start of 2020. So Lend-Lease is something worth watching at the moment. One of those downtrodden stocks that we don't really want to get involved in, but all of a sudden we find people are liking them again. So we shall see what happens there. Now, another stock I wanted to have a look at quickly was, again, in that communications, internet, telecom sort of area, is Domain Holdings. Not one that I cover at the moment, it's too small, but it has had an interesting pattern because it is in that sector with car sales, REA, NEC, all those sort of stocks. it has, had a big uptrend phase here back in 2020. It went into a distribution phase. It then fell into a downward trade. It's gone through an accumulation phase now and is now moving to its uptrend phase. There's a lot of words there, but that's what the cycle is. That's how it works. And we're now starting to push ahead here. I think it's probably down a little bit today, but that's okay. We saw the little move through here a couple of weeks ago. A bit of volume attached to it, a bit of momentum attached to it, and above the average, so it would have qualified for a trend intensity reversal here. Trend intensity rating of +8. So again, we see it. We said it pushed through high. It's come back again today. These are always the tests that we have to try. We have to trade through. What does your trade plan tell you to do? That's what you do, and that gives you an idea, and that gives you your roadmap of what to do. So one day we can feel good, next day we can feel bad, but we need to be able to work through all those phases and trade with poise. Okay, so that's really most of the stocks I wanted to go through today. There's a few good ones there for you. Again, those sectors that we really love at the moment are doing so well. So we'll just happily keep those stocks in our portfolio and leave the ones that are going down out. Okay, that's how we work. So now just very quickly, little word of wisdom from me. It's just a little bit, I have conversations with members all the time and they ask me about, things about what I think and stuff. And I'm really saying, when you've got your trade plan built, when you've got it set, which you need, we all need a trade plan because it gives us the process which we follow. So sometimes when we start thinking about trades and we see the market do stuff, we think about things. What we're actually doing is we're actually thinking about second guessing our trade plan, which is what we shouldn't do and what we can do a lot. So really, when you have a trade plan, it tells you what to do, even though you may not like it. Often because you may not like it so much, it's probably the right thing to do. But so thinking about things, you just be a little bit careful because you really should know what you're going to do. Knowing if you're doing it properly, you will be in control, comfortable, knowing what to do because you'll have all the answers set down for you. So it's a bit like that. If this happens, I do that, or if that happens, I do this. It's a predetermined destiny, your trading plan, your trading pattern. Okay, so that's just my word of wisdom today. There's some great stocks out there. Don't be too disheartened about what's happening with some of the leaders in the ASX 200. There's some really good stuff happening out there. So that's about all I've got for today. A couple of things. Fly the flag, steer the boat, keep a straight bet. Don't die wondering. All knowing impactful adages that require the steady hand of knowing what to do. Okay, it's really important to know what to do, and I've said to you before the Peter Lynch adage of know why you buy and you'll know what to buy. It's like don't think what to do, you'll know what to do. All these sort of things really are important. So as with stock selection, be knowing, controlled and decisive in your approach as always, and you'll find things much easier and you'll probably be more successful. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe, watch your trends, heed your stops. Give me a call if you need to have a chat, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks very much.